know what? I always wondered about that whole paradox with doctors that their whole job is to prevent death, even though they realize that their entire
death is
yeah, that was my whole thing about doctors. I always thought was weird.
Fuck this evil ass.
It's like we prolong our lives to just die. Like my whole thing is
I want to live for hundreds of years.
I don't see the point.
I think we prolong our lives.
Shit, being alive.
Yeah, I don't think.
When somebody dies, it's not just them that's affected; it's the people that are around them.
I understand that's the whole thing, but I'd rather not be immortal because I don't see the benefit of it. Just being alive and just watching. Considering humanity isn't on the best of legs anyway, I really wouldn't want to just see the crash of humanity anyway.
I think it's certainly better than what it was 100 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not great, but I just don't see the point of watching the entirety of humanity unfold.
We're living longer anyway because the population is about to go to 7 million.
That's the whole thing about death. Like death is one of those things. It's like, yeah, I don't want to keep doing this shit forever. Even if you have a stable household and you're just living out your life, you don't want to fucking do that for 600, 400 years and shit.
Yeah, I would.
I wouldn't. I want to have a legacy.
If everything was the same except your ability to live longer, then think about how much better your life would be. Like if you, although that would take more money, so you probably would still be working a longer time.
You still have to be doing shit. I mean, that's my whole thing. That's why I don't want to keep doing this.
But if I had enough money, I'd want to be immortal.
Not really.
My thing is
if I had $1 billion, I'd just spend my days donating to charity, helping people out, reading books, reading manga, and watching anime. That's all I do with my life.
I'd want to die after a while. It's like, fuck
no, I do. I really just want to leave something behind for people that are still living to draw to.
If I could find somebody to love for hundreds of years.
Here's my thing. With the whole materialistic thing, it's like, yeah, I would miss certain, seeing some possible new games that I've been wanting to see since I was like 5 or some shit like that. Maybe some new books, maybe some TV shows. But at the same time, honestly, you get tired of the bullshit and the monotony. It's like, I don't want to just sit here and just chill. Because even chilling gets boring. Like,
my issue with death is like...
Here's my whole thing. Humans are never really truly satisfied and content with one thing forever. It's usually a mix of shit they have to do. Like, that's just how it is. I don't want to... And why would I want to just bore the shit out of myself?
Well, do different things while you're alive. Yeah, shit. I want to learn how to play the piano.
You will eventually have done everything. That's the problem. You will have done everything. And what then?
I'm tired of this physical plane bullshit.
Then you're just God. That's what it is. You're just God at that point.
No, I don't want to I'm ready. Like,
let me first say,
whenever I die, I don't know. I don't see death as the end for me, though.
Here's my thing. Achieving perfection doesn't mean anything, because after a point, you just get bored with it. If everyone was immortal, we couldn't even sustain ourselves on this planet, actually. Just logically, you couldn't sustain...
Eat other people.
You couldn't sustain yourself on yourself. Death is kind of necessary just for the survival of the fucking planet. On top of just...
That's actually true.
Well, immortality is just illogical anyway. Why would you want to live forever?
I don't see the appeal to it.
Why wouldn't you want to live forever?
What's the point?
I wouldn't.
And experience new things forever and do new things forever?
My whole thing is, I think a man is measured by how much they leave behind for people that
I'm not
around
necessarily.
them. Whether it may be mentally or physically. And if you believe behind a lot for those people, you don't know.
J-Man's thing is kind of on the legacy stuff, and I can understand that and I respect that, but that's not one of my main reason for not living forever is just, there's nothing worth it. Here's my thing. Alright, you said you would, read manga, give money away and shit, but what happens to the point when society changes to the point where money is my new point, books are my new point, all the materialistic shit is my new point, because in the future, shit happens in a good or bad way that makes those things my new point. Then you're sitting there not being able to die, and watching people die around you. If we're talking, and
Yeah.
I mean,
y'all never watched that Ninja Turtle movie when that nigga lived forever and he wanted to die? That's what happened as a mom.
I've seen it somewhere else before. I've seen it quite a few times when they tackle immortality. You see the people you love die around you. And
well, I mean,
what if they were immortal? What if? I mean, would you want to live in?
Dude,
imagine that the Earth could sustain us forever, could sustain an indefinite amount of people forever, and everybody was immortal. Would you want to be immortal?
Well, that would ruin the whole purpose of life, because life to me is a test. It's a test of how much you can do.
Oh man, hell no! Fuck that
listen to me. Life is point. Listen to me. Life is.
It is a test.
Life would just be pointless. Life barely has a meaning now. Life would be utterly pointless.
What? No, that's negative.
That's not negative. That's
so.
It's realistic.
Yo, I love these discussions.
Dude, it's realistic, man.
I hate that. Like, I may not act like the most positive person, but I don't like that negative.
Dude, the point of life is what you make it. That's what the point of life is. But if you're immortal, there's no point to it because you can do everything in a limited amount of time. You don't have to rush. You don't have to focus on anything. You can dick around forever, and there's no reason not to dick around.
There's no consequence for your mistakes, so you're not learning.
Yeah, there's no point. It's like you're not even human at the point. You're at like some type of bullshit godlike state when you can't die, and
you're like eyes.
You lose the.
Yeah,
all those ideas about what life means and about what you can do with your life
don't mean shit.
We only believe that because we know we're gonna die. But if I guarantee you, if we were immortal, and if the Earth could sustain an indefinite amount of people for an indefinite amount of time, our ideas about life would be completely different. It would be completely different.
At the same time, it still wouldn't change the obvious fact that you would just be there. We would just be there. We wouldn't die. Nothing would change. It would literally be like that. It'd be like those fucking episodes, those Twilight episodes where you had the clone houses and shit. Everybody be the same. Everybody just be...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, why would we be the same?
We wouldn't have colours. We wouldn't have colours. We'd just have black and white. We wouldn't have any colours in between.
Why not? Humans are always
Uber.
No, because eventually we will all learn the same stuff and become the same person. The reason
why we wouldn't have any colors is for an obvious reason. The individuality goes through different societies being taught different things and how you grew up. But if we're all immortal, we all will eventually just transcend ourselves into the same essential person because we will all know everything that other people don't. The differences, the uniqueness in human beings come from where you grew up, what you learned, what you didn't learn, what you're into, what you're not into. With all that fucking free time, you're gonna learn everything about everything that everyone knows. Which means...
No, I don't think so.
So what do you think?
Yeah, we will, because we'll be able to pass on knowledge that we've gathered from other people by meeting other people. Because eventually you're gonna have to talk to other people.
Well, why would that make us all the same?
Because we will all...
Because we're gonna learn all the same things.
Listen,
eventually we're gonna become good at everything.
But that doesn't mean we'll be the same.
We will, because we'll be the same perfect beings, should I say?
Yeah,
Well, we won't be perfect. I mean, to be perfect means what do you mean by perfect? Because to me, perfect means that you're like you're perfectly moral, perfectly ethical.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing,
though. If there won't be any morals or ethics, because the only consequences for morals and ethics have to do with physical standing and money and stature and life. And if you take away the whole, well, none of us can die, there's no reason to have this whole poor and rich setup, because it's like, oh, you have more money than me. Well, why the fuck does that matter? Because eventually I'll get to your level anyway. It's like as much. I mean, when you have enough free time, you can do anything essentially. And it's like, so.
Do you think that ethics would not exist anymore if we were immortal?
I don't think it would not exist anymore. I think over time it would become meaningless.
The reason why we have ethics is because there's consequence. In the world with no consequence, why is there need for ethics?
It's like,
but there would still be consequences, though.
How would there be consequences?
I mean, death isn't the only consequence of bad action.
No, it's not the only consequence, but it's the only...
It's the biggest
one. It's probably the most meaningful one. And what else could you do? What else could you do that would cause physical pain? It would be like, what?
Who would want an immortal
Because
You
patient?
could
wouldn't
rape
get
somebody.
ill.
You could be a serial rapist.
What the fuck would that matter?
Or
You
immortal
can't die,
rapist.
and it won't. And over time,
Mad Thad is immortal.
Over time, you'd rehabilitate. Because you have all the time in the world, you're gonna rehabilitate.
like,
Mad Thad.
I mean that's true, but it still doesn't get rid of the pain of being raped.
You'll get over it.
well,
in
here's
time.
the thing. You said that over time, our ideas of life may change, right? Okay, if that's the case, then after a point, how do you know that we won't view all these random actions of death and rape and murder and, physical abuse and non-physical abuse as anything that even matters? That's the problem. Shit becomes a minute point when there's no type of realistic consequence to it. It's like, oh, you raped me. Okay, well, I could get pregnant.
But rape is a bad enough consequence already. Without.
I mean, I understand rape is bad, but it's like, okay, you rape me, I have a child, what the fuck ever. Like, Larry, that's what it kind of boils down to, is what the fuck ever. And the reason why it boils down to that is because it's not like over time you're gonna look at that person and the view of that person will change. I mean, fuck, that changes within a normal human lifespan. Some people who got raped when they were 20 either still hold the grudge or they've kind of learned to accept it. And even if you still hold the grudge, nothing's gonna. You can't ever have vengeance. Vengeance becomes pointless on that person for two reasons.
Because you
You on
can't.
some bullshit, nigga. You never been raped.
No, dude. Listen.
You never
listen,
got fucked in the ass.
Oh, Jason.
That's true.
Look,
That's
fuck
true.
you, finger.
Listen.
That's actually.
All
very
I'm
true.
saying is this. Look, most people who get raped or in some type of physical pain, they don't have anything to fear because no one can die. It's not like they can hold their family for ransom because you can't die. On top of that,
Oh yeah, and the immortal shit.
if you're accepting of it,
That's
and
cool,
on
bro.
top of that, if you're accepting of it, you're gonna forgive them anyway. And if you want vengeance, you can never have vengeance because you can't.
I
In
don't
the
think.
Because you
anime.
can't kill.
I don't think that the pain we experience in life is all dependent upon us knowing that we will die.
No, it's not. But the pain we experience in life has to do with the limited amount of time we have because we're gonna die.
Yes. To fulfill this
Yeah,
test.
well, I wouldn't say test, but I mean that's going.
But that wouldn't
that's
make make something like rape any less traumatic, though.
No,
I mean the fact that
no. I'm not.
Have you heard the saying, time's the best medicine? Because over the time, you're going to rehabilitate.
No.
You're gonna get
Uberhikari,
over it.
I don't think you understand the weight of saying that we're immortal and the world will never destroy itself, and that you're saying that.
Well, it's possible that the world we could destroy.
No, I'm
ourselves.
saying no. We're talking about the what if situation if we were all immortal and the world was indefinite. In that situation, you've eliminated everything essentially that could possibly. Rape is an issue for two reasons: because people can be killed through rape, and people's mind state is fucked up through rape. You eliminate the killing portion because we can't die, and the mental mind state can be healed over time because you've eliminated the three. You've eliminated the problems within the three mindsets. If you accept it, you're going to be fine anyway. If you want vengeance, you can't get it because they don't die. And on top of that, and if it was, I can't even.
But they could be put in prison, couldn't
Well,
they?
what the fuck? But they can't.
In immortal
Well, here's my
prison?
thing.
Yeah, but
It wouldn't matter.
Who wants?
It wouldn't matter because they won't die. They'll just sit there. It's like literally sitting in your house for the rest of your life.
I think that's pretty bad to be in prison for forever.
Because they're not gonna give a shit.
Especially if you get prison rape and fucking.
Yeah, but
the
you're
ass.
assuming the institution of prison would still even be there. You're assuming that people would want people to be. That people will still imprison people for doing shit. Okay, you got in prison for raping someone. Okay, why did you rape them? Well, I wanted to have sex. Well, what's the problem? She didn't consent. Well, why does she need to consent? Don't know. It's like
That's some big fucking what.
the problem with the whole moral, the morals will slowly break down to nothing essentially. Because morals were all based around consequences for your action. If you were greedy, you usually paid for it with something valuable. What do you have of value anymore? It's like, oh, well, we have material objects. Well, who's going to keep making material objects for the rest of their life? Who is going to keep building games and weapons? Actually, we wouldn't even need weapons because you can't die. What's the point of having fucking weapons? So why are you going to keep building any type of, like any type of recreation?
But you could enslave
actually,
people.
No. I've got something to just destroy this whole argument entirely. Like say if you love creating games and you put time and effort into that for 5 years, that's 5 years of your life you spent creating that game. And when people enjoy it, you feel happy because you created that game. If there's no time in the earth, what's the point of creating that game? Because you can just create another one because you've got all the time in the world. Once time is factored out, where's the value in anything?
Yeah. It kind of takes away the point of doing anything. So, I built a house. Well, I mean, why did I rush myself? Why didn't I just you could take your time and you would still have time to spare. Like, you could take your time to build an amazing house. And in like 2 minutes, you realize, fuck, I could have just built something even more amazing, and you'll do that, and you'll keep doing that, and you'll keep doing that, and you'll keep outdoing yourself, but there'll never be a point to it, because all you're doing is just building bigger, better houses. There's nothing more to it. You're gonna keep doing. You're not gonna pass it on to your kids. You can have kids, and they won't even give a shit, because you just keep doing it. There's nothing stopping you from not doing it, and after a point, if you're human, you're gonna get bored. That's a natural thing. And even if you don't get bored, you're just gonna keep doing it. It's gonna get redundant. That's it. You're just gonna have a world full of a whole bunch of recreational activities, or buildings and toys and what the fuck ever. And eventually, you're just gonna become repetitive as shit. It's either gonna become really repetitive, or you're gonna bore yourself and wish for death.
That's why the legacy thing I think is important.
The legacy thing.
I think the time that we use to do these things and people value them after life means a lot.
As much as people hate dying, it kind of justifies our existence in a sense. Because what's the point of having kids if you're gonna live forever? It's like.
What does that have to do with the legacy?
No, I'm just saying. Like, the legacy thing only works when death is involved. When there's a limited amount of time for you to do things.
Yeah. That's why I want there to be time. That's what I'm saying.
Like, legacy is important in that sense, but in terms of immortal shit, there's no point to anything because there's nothing you can't do. You took off the time. You took off the death clock. You took off that shit. What's the point of doing anything actually at that point? Because you can dick around and still do what you need to do. Oh wait, that's right. There's no need to do it. It's just do it if you fucking want to.
Yeah, I understand.
That's my.
And honestly, I don't even think there'll be any form of inspiration anymore.
No.
How would there be inspiration?
No, you could be inspired still. It's just it wouldn't go anywhere. Like, you would do what you were inspired to do, and it would kind of be it. And then it would become a new point because you would try to top yourself.
But I think eventually the inspiration will just run into each other. Everything will just run into each other, and it just won't be inspiration anymore. It will just be black and white.
It depends. It depends of when humans are at that point, if they can be bored, or if they can just do shit indefinitely. If they can do shit indefinitely, you will never, ever, ever be bored. You would just if you can do shit indefinitely, inspiration will keep coming, but you'll just keep repeating everything. You'll be stuck in a loop, essentially.
The thing is, once you are immortal, you make a perfect game, what do you do next?
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
This conversation is some bullshit.
That means you don't... that means
what you say for Jason?
You're trapped in a loop.
This conversation is some bullshit. We're gonna all die. It's based on some what ifs. Fuck this conversation. I'm out.
This conversation...
It's not bad.
What you're getting about this conversation, this makes you question what you believe and back it up. That's the strength in this conversation.
All I'm saying is that, we only brought this up because Uberhikari mentioned the fact that he's like, he would want to live forever. And I said, fuck that.
Well, how about this? I want to live for a long time.
You can live for a long time. Just I don't mind you living for a long time. I'd rather just fucking die by the end of it, though. I don't want to just live forever. Let me die. Fuck. I'm curious about the fucking... ironically, out of everything I can say, I am curious about the fucking afterlife. Just because of all these different types of explanations and fucking, people saying this will happen, this happens when you die, this happens when you die. I'm like, you know what? What the fuck actually happens when you die? What the fuck happens?
I think
that's what I'm saying. Fuck this physical plane shit. Fuck this physical.
Well, Jason, but the thing is, why are you off on it? Why aren't you expressing your opinions about this?
Wait, what?
Why are you so off on this conversation?
Huh?
Oh, me?
Huh?
No, for Jason.
Oh.
Why are you so down on this conversation?
I didn't even. My mom came in.
There's some what if shit. Is we not gonna live forever? We gonna all die.
I mean, it's.
Well, just
But
because
it's nice
something's
to
not
think
going to
about
happen
it.
doesn't mean you can't question
I mean,
it.
you can question, the what if shit. All I'm saying is just. My whole thing is, whatever. I mean, but if you want to get off of that, you can go into this. What do you think is going to happen when you die? Just out of curiosity. Honestly, that's my one of.
I don't think nothing's gonna happen. You just stop existing, and that's it.
That's so bad. That's horrible.
Why is that horrible to not
It's not
exist?
horrible.
Nothing
Dude,
happens. It's neither good nor bad. Nothingness.
You won't feel anything. You won't be aware of anything. You won't be you at all. You literally, you would just kind of cease.
Well, it sounds bad.
I kind of wonder if. I kind of hope it's the rebirth shit, just out of curiosity. But even then, that's kind of because.
I don't want to be reborn into this shit.
But how many times can you be reborn before you get?
No. When I say now, listen. When I say reborn to this shit, it's kind of like how we were born as ourselves. As ourselves now. As ourselves now, where we're not aware that we have a previous form.
Oh, okay. That'd be less traumatizing.
Well, yeah, because you won't be you anymore. I mean, that's the whole thing about being reborn in some physical state. You don't know what the fuck. You don't know what.
Reborn.
You don't.
Reborn.
Shut up. All I'm saying is that you won't know originally what you were.
Reborn.
Like you could have been fucking. Y'all just took all seriously in the conversation.
Reborn.
I couldn't think. There was another.
Rebound. Ezekiel hit them.
Man, y'all got into some deep shit.
Okay, carry on. No, let's finish this off. Let's just finish
all I was gonna say is that
rebound. Rebound.
So Jason doesn't like America. He doesn't like America. He wants his waifu.
Okay, no.
All I was gonna say is that
I'm gonna let you finish.
When you're in that, we're in the state that we're just like
reborn,
where we're not aware that we had a previous form. It's not really bad because you don't remember anything anyway. Like we're not aware.
I think if I was aware of this life and I was reborn, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I'd be like, shit.
Reborn.
Damn. No, because if you're reborn, the thing is, if you're reborn, you never were a person to begin with.
That's what makes me curious about the whole rebirth shit. It's like, what was I in a previous life, and if I'm really what I am now? Like what I am, like as I know myself now, am I even that, or was I something else?
I wouldn't give a fuck what I was, because I wouldn't remember anything. It doesn't matter.
That means you're not a person. You're just this entity that's just.
It's kind of like when
this is what ifs. Just chill with your wife and everything. It's kind of like good.
All I'm saying is like it's kind of like going.
Me and my
wife.
Like
going to sleep. It's kind of like being asleep and not dreaming. It's kind of like that in a sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Matrix.
Really? Yeah, but what the fuck?
Gavin was like, "You guys are having some deep ass conversation."
It was my bad, man. I couldn't find like the mute button to whatever the fuck it was, and I was downloading something.
Hey, you watched that video I sent you, Zamar?
Video?
Wait, what? What vid?
That King Lou video. You watched it?
What?
That King Lou video.
I think so, but I don't remember.
This shit was funny.
I'll check. You sent it to me on YouTube, right?